this video, I'm guessing that we have a similar problem. In the warmer months, I am so chock full of ideas for what to do with my kids. We spend the spring and summer outside gardening, at the lake, going to local farms for berry picking, and then fall rolls around, we get stuck inside and all of my creative ideas leave my brain. But I decided this year that is not going to happen, so I buckled down and did some research and came up with a list of 7 really easy ideas to do with toddlers in the autumn, and I got your back, so I'm gonna share them with you too. All of these are very low prep, quick and easy to do, aren't going to cause a ton of stress and cleanup. I wanted to pick things that are very accessible. So we have some things indoor, some things outdoor, we have some crafts, and I'm excited to share them with you guys. One of the first things I recommend doing is going on a fall leaf identification walk. Now, I wanted to get this video ready before autumn actually rolls around, so there aren't a lot of leaves that have changed colors around here, but this was still so much fun. I found this little printable on Etsy for a couple of dollars, and I just printed out on some cardstock. I cut the middle out, and Rowan and I headed to a local trail, and he was able to use the printable like a frame. So he would hold it up with the leaf he was trying to identify in the middle, and then look at all the pictures around the edges and pick which one resembled the leaf that he was looking at the most.
I think it's this one.
You think it's this one?
Yeah.
That's an aspen. I think it's an aspen.
I think it's apple.
Yeah. The printable was a great jumping off point, but while we were on our walk, I actually used my iPhone to take pictures of a lot of the local plants that we actually saw, and I'm going to use the iPhone cutout feature to put them on my own kind of similar template, because I think the Etsy printable was probably made in a different part of the country, so some of the leaves aren't things that grow here. If you didn't know, iPhone has this really great feature where you can tap on a picture and then click this little eye identification button, and it will tell you usually what kind of plant it is. So it looks like this one is a balsam poplar, maybe? I'm looking forward to doing this activity all autumn long. If you're looking for something indoor to do with your toddler, I highly recommend doing a potion simmer pot. This is fun for a couple of reasons. First, it's like cooking, but with none of the pressure for anything to actually turn out well. So I just get a big pot of water on the stove, obviously supervised because it's gonna be hot, and I put a bunch of different stuff out on the counter. I like to stick with autumn scents, so things like cinnamon sticks, star anise, oranges, rosemary. And then I also put in some things that don't really smell but are just fun for my kids, like fall leaves. And I just let them drop them in the pot and stir with a wooden spoon, and they make their own little potion. And as a bonus, it works to make our house smell really nice and autumnal and cozy. Ready?
I want to do it all by myself.
No, just do a small, very small splash, as little as you can go. Oh, that was a lot. Okay. All right, that's all right. Does it smell nice? Is it ready to turn the water on?
I think I want to put a lot of this in.
Okay, go ahead.
All of this.
You want to do all of it?
Yeah, first let's do it.
Okay, go for it.
Boom. Keep going.
Rowan loves baking, so on the days when he asks to bake, but I don't have the bandwidth to like actually try to do a full recipe, this is the perfect solution. It's quick, it's fun, the cleanup is super easy, and he adores it. You guys know I'm all about fine motor skills and sensory bins, so of course I have a couple of suggestions for that as well. The first one is just wrapping toys up like mummies. So you just get some white yarn, I had some laying around my house, and some of your kids' toys, and you have them try to wrap the toys up to look like mummies. It's a very simple activity, but this kept my kids entertained for a good half an hour, which is amazing. Juniper didn't really get the whole wrapping concept, so she mostly just played with the string, which she still had a blast with, but Rowan really understood and ended up with some cute little mummy toys. And then when we were done, we just unwrapped them and we have the string to reuse again and again. This is great for fine motor skills. Even for Juniper, she was learning to pinch it, you know, practicing that pincer grasp with the tiny little piece of yarn. I also created this apple pie sensory bin for them. I believe you can get these on Etsy. I actually saw this on Pinterest, went to all the work of recreating it, and then found it on Etsy later. So I was like, oh, I wish the first person who had posted that on Pinterest had linked it. You can totally do it yourself, or you can buy a kit if you don't want to do the prep. You basically just take a plastic bin and fill it with oats. Then you can add in your fun little extras. So I got these little silicone tart pans that basically look like tiny little pie tins on Amazon. I'll link them down below for you guys. That was our base for making our little apple pies. We also added red pom-poms. If you do have a younger kid, I would suggest getting larger ones so they're not such a choking hazard. I made this for Rowan, and then Juniper was very interested in it as well and loved to play with it, so I just kept Hawkeye on her. But getting some big ones is probably a good idea if you also have a 1-year-old. Some other things I put in there were cinnamon sticks. I made little felt pie crusts, literally just a 59-cent piece of felt from Joann's and some scissors and some hot glue. I also made these little recipe cards. If you're in my Patreon, they are in my digital downloads library. But I had Rowan follow the recipes and count the number of things to put in just for some counting and color practice. And then of course some utensils to scoop the oats. This was a much bigger hit with Juniper than I thought it would be. They both played at this thing again for like probably 45 minutes. And because it's just oats, it's really easy to just vacuum up when you're done. Some of the sensory bins that are like water and anything to do with like paint or ink can be a little bit intimidating to clean up, but the oats are so simple. If you're looking for an indoor activity, I highly recommend making a quilt fort or a blanket fort. I love quilts. I think they're super cozy for autumn. You can just basically drape it over a couple of chairs to make a little reading nook for you and your littles. Both my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old love this, and we stayed cozied up for a good half an hour just reading some of our different favorite fall books. If you're just looking to start a seasonal library, I highly recommend getting the Brambley Hedge collection and Little Witch Hazel because they both have all 4 seasons worth of stories. So it's a really good place to start if you only want to buy 1 or 2 books to start building up a seasonal library. But I'm also going to share some of our favorite autumn and Halloween books. Here's our little stack. I get 1 or 2 new ones every year. Probably our most read one actually year round is Gilbert the Ghost. This is a story about a little ghost who is pink instead of white and doesn't want to spend his time scaring people. So he gets banished to this abandoned tower and makes friends with a black cat, and they spend their time making the tower into this like cozy haven for all of the other ghosts to come to when they're not haunting. Your My Little Pumpkin Pie is especially good for younger toddlers. It just has all of these super cute illustrations and little poems with different kind of Halloween characters. Rowan loves The Leaf Thief. This one is goofy and funny. You gotta go all out when you read it out loud. I got this one at Barnes & Noble. It was one of their like books of the month that they do for $5 last year, and I'm glad I took a chance on it because it's one of his favorites. It's very funny. I love the art style of Fletcher and the Falling Leaves. It's this beautiful kind of like pastels illustration. And this is about a little fox named Fletcher who gets very concerned that his favorite tree is sick when all of its leaves turn colors and start falling off. Tiny Perfect Things is about a little girl and her grandfather who go on a walk and spend their time looking at the tiny little everyday miracles that they can be grateful for. Very sweet, also a beautiful art style. Adventures with Barefoot Critters is actually where I got the idea for the quilt fort. This is a take on an ABC book with the cutest illustrations. It actually has a lot of really good activity suggestions for you in the book, and one of them is to create a quilt fort. So cute. And then the new one that we got this year that my kids were obsessed with is called The Little Ghost Who Was a Quilt. So stinking cute. As you might guess from the title, it's about a ghost who is a quilt instead of a white sheet and feels ashamed for being different. And then you get kind of the Rudolph effect where it ends up making something special happen for him. And it's very sweet. I also found a couple super cute crafts on Pinterest that you can do with your toddler in like 5 to 10 minutes that can also double as decor. The first one is using autumn leaves to make little ghosts and bats. So you just grab some leaves from outside, press them to dry them in a heavy book or a little flower press for a few days, and then use black and white paint and your imagination and your kiddo's imagination and make them into cute leaves and bats. I'm gonna link the pin down below where I originally saw this. I'll also pop in a picture here. How cute are these used as decor? Any chance Rowan can get to paint, he is all about it. So just put down a bunch of newspaper so you don't have a ton of cleanup. Thankfully, it's only 2 colors, which makes the project a lot more simple. And assuming you might have some black and white paint in your house, this activity is also free.
Did I do a good job doing it?
A great job, I love it!
Okay, Mama, let's do another one.
I also absolutely love these little ghost tassel wands from My 4 Wonders on Instagram. So I wanted to try recreating them with Rowan. Again, I had yarn in my house. So you basically just take a small piece of cardboard and wrap your yarn around it a bunch of times. And you're gonna cut one side. So you've got loose ends on one side and you still have the fold on the top. Slide the cardboard out and then tie a piece of the same color yarn around about a third of the way down, I would say. And that's how you're gonna make your little ghost tassel. From here, you can decorate it however you want. You can use ribbon, you can use felt, you can use glitter if you're feeling very daring. I personally was not. And you can either put like a foraged stick on the inside with just a blob of hot glue for the wand, or you can do what I did, which is grab a dowel from the hardware store and cut it up into like 12-inch segments. And then you have these super cute little ghosts that your kiddos can play with. They can be puppets. Rowan likes to use his as a magic wand to try to like freeze us, like in Bluey. You could even like stick them in your plants, like in the pots as little decorations. So fun, so cute, and so quick and easy to do. If you want more ideas for toddler crafts and activities, I do have several other videos in this series. So I'll link the playlist for them right up here. I have one specifically for like 12 to 18-month-olds, and then I have one for 2 to 3-year-olds. Lots of other good ideas in those if you're still feeling stuck. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to subscribe. I do a lot of motherhood and lifestyle content on this channel, and I would love to have you in our friend group. Until next time, I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you lots, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye!